Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ModzvilleUSA here, back with another video. And what I got here is the elusive Sega Dreamcast BBA Ethernet adapter, broadband adapter. Now, these things go for a good chunk of money. They seem to be cheaper than they were many years ago, as of late when you check on eBay. But by cheaper, I mean still $100+ to get one of these bad boys. Now, I never wanted to fork over the cash for one of these, and after many years of waiting patiently and always buying massive junk lots of Dreamcasts to fix up, make pretty, retro bright, put a Gdemu in, the whole shebang, I figured one day I would end up with one of these in one of these junk lots. Just an oversight, not realizing they had something valuable, and recently, past few months, I have done such a thing. And that is very nice. It took many years to do, and it may have never happened. I'm not going to say if you buy a bunch of junk lots of Dreamcasts from Japan, you'll get one. But I played the lottery, and this time it worked out. Now, what if you don't want to spend $100 some odd on a very niche peripheral for the Sega Dreamcast? There's an option, a very solid option. What you could do is get one of these kits here from Delta Island, out of Europe, and they are on eBay. I will leave a link to the listing. Now, you might want to make a couple, maybe make a couple and sell them, because shipping's quite a bit if you're in the US like me. PCBs are under $20, but shipping's quite a bit, so you might want to get a couple while you're there. And you'll also need some parts here for salvaging. Really, we're going to need to sacrifice an OEM Dreamcast modem here, the regular line phone jack one. We need this connector. We're also going to need an Atomiswave modem, and these are dirt cheap. I will have a link to these below on AliExpress. They're about $15 and about $20 for this. And this is just kind of assuming you have a modem laying around. Most Dreamcasts come with a modem. So if not, you're probably looking at another $15, $20. So it gets a little bit close if you're doing this from scratch to the original, and if you're looking at spending 2/3 of the cost, you might want to weigh it out and see if you want to do this. But if you got a modem on hand, get one of these PCBs, get one of these, like $15, easy peasy. And we're gonna put this together, test it out, and see what's up. It's not the most elegant solution in the world. Doesn't look great. Nobody's really done a 3D printed shell. Hopefully someone does at some point. But yeah, it's not the prettiest, bell of the ball or whatever. So we're going to take apart this modem, and we are going to fire up hot air station. Okay, so we got this bad boy apart. This was this little bracket. It's a bit of a pain to pull up, but I just pulled it on out. Took a little bit of force, not too shabby. So we are going to need to remove this. So I'm going to I don't have to go too crazy with the heat, so I'm going to pre-tin all of these pins here. So it's a little bit quicker to deal with. Alright. Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect with the soldering there. It's literally just adding a bit of fresh solder to help remove it, you know? So typically for removing connectors and stuff, I'd be using tweezers, but this guy's pretty damn big. So I think pliers might be a better option here than my little curved Hacko tweezers. Okay, now this is a tough angle to get with the camera. I reach around to the other side. I'm gonna be knocking my camera. Just 330 max airflow. Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, the connector has been acquired. That was a bit of a pain getting that. I kind of needed to do a bit of a twist, you know. It was all molten. It wasn't coming up just by pulling on it. I kind of had to do a gentle little snap there. May have lost some pads. Yeah, it looks like I lost a couple pads. Don't really care. Wasn't really trying to preserve this thing. All we needed is the connector. So I'll clean up the if I've got some loose pads on these, clean those up and install it. A huge thank you to today's sponsor, Pcbway. Not only do they offer PCB manufacturing, but they now offer CNC and 3D printing services as well. I've gotten PCBs for many of my products and projects manufactured by Pcbway before. The website is super easy to use and the quality and turnaround time is amazing. Very swag, very handsome. I like it. Thanks again to Pcbway for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the show. Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's all done. Let me just put this back together, set it up, and let's test it out. Maybe play some Quake 3 Arena. Okay, and just real quick, I want to go over the folding here. So the blue tab's up from the connector. It connects like this. Just one simple fold. This guy is going to plug in to where your modem goes. And you kind of just got this guy hanging off to the side here. Lan adapter. Then I'm going to try hacking up the Atomiswave shell to get the cable sticking out, so it's just not a bare PCB floating around. And then we shall carry on. Okay, so this is what I came up with. It's a super quick down and dirty cut here. Just chop with the flush cuts. And if you really want to get it to look nice, you just kind of eyeball this with the metal here. If you just cut a slit out down towards the bottom, just have the flex coming through. But yeah, it's all intact, still usable, should still be usable. I mean, we just added a little breakout PCB to the bottom of this connector here, the other side of that connector, so should all still be intact if you want to use it as an original Atomiswave modem here. But yeah, I just don't want a loose PCB flopping around. We've already got this one, so yeah, let's hook it up. Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are testing it here with some Phantasy Star Online. We want to do some Quake 3. Now this is the PSO Patcher, the CDI, or the version specifically for the Gdemu. I want to leave a link to this down below because it took some tinkering to figure out how the hell to get this working. So for Phantasy Star Online, you need to run a patch each time you play it. And so for the Gdemu, you put that CDI directly before your Phantasy Star Online GDI, and then it kind of like chain loads. So here are my settings. This is what I set it to. That's the, I think it's kind of redundant having the DNS like that, because that's the DNS for the private server. It should already be patched to do that. But this did the trick. Now you also need to find a license key. I'm not going to leave that here, but yeah, you can find the license if you just look it up. You can find one for each version. It'll work totally fine, but you will need to put that in the first time you play the game. It is connecting, blasting off into space here. And very good. We are on a private server for Phantasy Star Online. Now, I never played this game growing up, so I dicked around for a little bit, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, how to really do anything, like start a quest, whatever. I ended up figuring out how to join an ongoing quest at some point, but yeah, I couldn't figure out what the hell to do in this game. Let me know in the comments, how do you get started with Phantasy Star Online? I'd like to give it a go, see what all the hubbub was about, but you know, I just didn't get it. I don't know how to do anything. I figured out how to say poo poo pee pee though, so that's pretty cool. So here we are in Quake 3 Arena. Here's the settings. Username, password do not matter. You're gonna have to. I'll leave a link to a setup guide for setting up like how to configure these things. You need to use a specific DNS server, and you're gonna want to go to ipconfig on your computer to get your gateway, and you got to make a static IP. Once you do that, you know, it's pretty straightforward, as long as the servers are up and running. There's also some Discord servers I will leave down below, as they're every Friday. Friday is the Quake 3 day. Some folks get together and frag it up on the Dreamcast, which is pretty neat. I would like to give it a go. I just gotta not suck so bad. I'm very rusty in Quake 3, especially using the trackball, the old school trackball mouse. That thing was trying to get used to that was a little rough. I washed the rollers, I cleaned her up, and it's a little stiff. Some of those angles are a little jank still. So here we go. We got some footage of me absolutely getting shit on by bots. But this is online, thanks to the DIY broadband adapter. So this device is pretty rad, especially if you've been wanting to hop on Phantasy Star Online. You got a soldering iron, a little bit of skill, and you don't want to pay over $100 to get a proper Dreamcast BBA adapter. This will do the trick, but it is at the cost. You pay less, but it's at the cost of aesthetics, because it's not really pretty. It's kind of a tumorish device hanging over the side of your console. So you gotta pick and choose. Do you want to save a couple bucks, or do you want to have something a little bit slicker looking and pay the premium for a proper broadband adapter? Or you can always just go with DreamPi. It's not going to be as fast, but it is quite a bit more versatile, as it does support many games that were not supported previously, or just weren't supported by the broadband adapter, unfortunately. But yeah, very cool, very fun little project, pretty damn easy to make, and gets the job done, as you can see here with me getting shit on by bots. But that's it, dudes. Thanks for watching the video, and leave a like if you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.